All right, I'm back. Now, whoever think it's funny to try to, whoever think it's funny to try to claim to report my video is not going to work. Hey, Rick Reviews. I'm gonna wait until some other people. Hey, Jen. You know what popped up, Jeremy, was some yellow box talking about um, copyright and violation of community guidelines and reports. So somebody is trying to sabotage my video. So you didn't really miss anything. You know how you watch a video and people be clicking on um, copyright or whatever? Someone's doing that. But anyways, let's go back and start all over again. Because there's nothing copyrighted, because nothing's mentioned. So somebody's trying to be funny. That's why I always say that if you're going to be in the room, acknowledge who you are, not lurking in the background. Because there's 5 of y'all in the chat. So go ahead and hit the thumbs up. So I know Dorian, Rick Reviews, who else would have? It ain't that I got a whole lot of subscribers who'll be in the chat. So I don't know what they're doing. But if they supposed to be funny, and you know how people be these trolls or people be in the bushes, they want to hang out in the bushes and act stupid. So all right, go ahead and hit that likes button. And Jeremy, you're the only moderator on here, so if anybody being foolish, go ahead and just kick them out. Don't even, I'm not going to entertain any of the lurkers and people who want to hide in the bushes and watch my videos. So we're not here for it. Not tonight. Thank you. You know, people like to hate, you know. You know what? You're gonna still hear that smoke alarm. It's not you're gonna still hear that beeping noise. Even if I close the door. I closed the door before and you could still hear it in the room. So hey, top speed reviews. Go ahead and hit those thumbs up. It's 8 of y'all, so go ahead. Go ahead for 8 for 8. I don't remember ever seeing any of your videos top speed reviews, so I'm gonna check your channel out. See how that's going. So anyway, I'm gonna start. Let me close this door a minute. Oh, goodness, my back. Oh, my back is hurting me. I'm gonna get me a chair tomorrow. A regular chair, especially live streams. Let's see. So anyway, so let me tell you. So as I was saying before I got cut off, I started my work from home position today, and basically what we only did was like orientation, you know, and then I'll be getting the equipment tomorrow. So I gotta make sure I stay up early in the morning because FedEx is supposed to come before 10 o'clock a.m. So I have to sign for it. So I want to make sure um, that I'd be able to catch FedEx to get the equipment. And I don't understand why people come to the door. They got a doorbell. People act like they don't know how to ring the doorbell. I mean, it just kills me sometimes. So, anyway, so most of y'all know that for the last, this will be going on the 4th year, sometime towards the end of the summer, that I've been working at a lot of gig jobs. A lot of you probably remember seeing me on doing Uber Eats. A lot of it was Grubhub. Grubhub. I did Postmates for like 2-3 days. I didn't like Postmates at all. Instacart. I did Ship for a couple of weeks towards the end of the holidays. I did Uber People for a minute when I first started, but once Uber Eats came along, that's when I did Uber Eats. Exactly. Postmates sucks. And Postmates, let me tell you, the reason why I don't like Postmates is because I remember taking a big order and you had to pay with that PEX card. It was like a $30 tip, but when I had paid for it on a PEX card, delivered it, the tip was like $6. I'm like, wait a minute. The customer on their receipt indicated it was a $30 tip. That dumb restaurant that I went to order, that I picked up the food from, claimed, oh, the tip went to the restaurant and the staff. Lying. They don't get no form of tip from anything. So I was like, mm-mm. And Postmates, you did that twice, and I said, nope, nope. It was not going to be for me. Uber Eats, way back when it came out. Is that what it's called? Uber Rush? Really? I know it's called Uber Rush. Exactly. Bunch of thieves. And then Instacart do the same thing. And DoorDash. I did DoorDash back in the day when it was $5 per delivery. And I made a killing. When I first started on most of those gigs, I did pretty good. But that was what, 3, 4 years ago when they first came out. And trust me, that first 2.5 years, going on that 3rd year, that's when it went downhill. That 3rd year, and after 3 years or so, all of those food delivery apps went downhill. All of them. And I did a whole lot of the food ones. Even Zifty, that was based in Atlanta, you know. But you couldn't get me. My patience got ran too low. After they ran my poor Kia down to the ground, you know, and all that money I was spending in gas, trust me, I remember back in the day, gas prices. Remember at one point in Atlanta when they had that oil spill or that big storm on the Mexican coast about 3, 4 summers ago, and gas prices went up to like $4 and some change, and it had ran out of gas, and you had to literally drive behind a quick trip truck to get to where the gas was going to be delivered. Mm-mm. Packs of Hanes and San Francisco took 120 tip on a very expensive order. Exactly. They have, nope. So now with this pandemic going on, everybody can't, the limit of shelter in place, and most people working from home, if they have a job and they are converting people to work from home, a lot of companies, especially if it's customer service, they're working from home, or or any type of industry. If it's not healthcare or fast food restaurants, something like that, either you lost your job because they closed for business, you're working at a fast food restaurant or whatever it be, or you work in healthcare, even if you were a school teacher, work in schools, you can't go to work. But most of the teachers, depending on the school districts, they still working, but the kids are working from home, and they still manage to um, get the lessons from the children and doing whatever type of work from home as a teacher. But it just depends on school districts. I haven't really came across anyone who's a teacher to ask them how they working, are they still getting paid or whatever the case may be. But even if you work as a school driver, some of these school drivers, what they're doing is delivering meals to school children between morning, like breakfast and lunch, and they are going by the school bus stops, so the kids, they can stand at the bus stop, get their lunch or breakfast or whatever. And so some of the bus drivers are working doing that. So, but as for any other type of course, I just went to McDonald's because I was starving and I didn't feel like cooking anything. And the only way how they'll let you inside of McDonald's is if you're picking up an Uber Eats order or a DoorDash order. They'll let you in and they'll just give you the bag and that's it. Which I think is stupid because how is that any safer? So I thought they was open up to do carry out. I said, well, y'all need to clarify your sign because it said carry out only. So I'm thinking if you go in there ordering at the counter, you carrying the food out. That was only if you were DoorDash or Uber Eats or something. And I just came, so I just left it from McDonald's, and this one guy, he was walking in there. He had this mask on. Of course, it wasn't even the type of mask he had was like a regular old plain plastic mask, which it doesn't protect you from the virus. And I don't even think I saw him. Did I see him wearing gloves when he came to get the food? I don't even think he had gloves. He may have had, but 99% of the time, you're still touching the car handle on your car, the steering wheel, the door to open up to get into the restaurant, and then you're picking up the bag, and then he had sandals on and looking all sloppy, kind of like, I was like, dang, it's cold out here. Why he got sandals on his feet? No socks, no nothing, just crusty old feet with sandals on, picking up food. So, and then I didn't see no bag. That was another thing. I didn't see no bag. He ain't walking in with an Uber Eats bag or no kind of bag to put the McDonald's food in. So I was like, that's why I would never, ever order any food from, I would never order any food from those type of service, Uber Eats, Grubhub. Even before this whole incident, I probably used that service twice. In all the times that they had Uber Eats, I've only ordered twice. And even then, I didn't have that good of an experience. Even I was going to the same restaurants that I was going to pick up food, I decided I wanted to order something. I was like, nope, never again. I don't even consider that to be essential, in my opinion. Picking up fast food and using DoorDash and Uber Eats and stuff is not essential to me. To me, I think if you wanted something like that, you need to go and get that food yourself. Because I heard on the radio, on one of the 103.5, they was talking about all these McDonald's franchise owners. It was like, oh, we know in time of need, people, especially kids, they only eat when they're at school. I was like, this is bull crap. Most kids are not do not go to school just to say that's essential to go and eat. Now, even if you were getting free food programs, you get free lunch, free breakfast when you go to school, if you are certain income guidelines. But it ain't like they're giving away any type of big, huge, not even huge. It's not like it's that nutritional at the schools that they serve you. What do you get? Typically, I don't know. They probably give you one piece of fruit, some handmade sandwich, and some little snack, something, whatever, I don't even know what they serve in school these days, but it ain't all that. Lunch, it ain't no big, huge nutritional lunch. It's just gonna be real basic. Carton of milk, maybe a piece of fruit, and say they serving pizza. It'll be some little whatever pizza thing or whatever kind of things they serve. I mean, food is food and it's good. They serving kids because because you don't really know what situations some children come into when it comes to um yeah, it may be, but at the same time I could assure you that if you're low income and you have children, regardless of what state you live in, they're going to give you food stamps. That's what the food stamp SNAP program is for. The SNAP program was for situations like that. So I understand. I know what you're saying, Jody, and welcome to the chat. Um, but I can assure you, if you're low income, whether you're destitute or you fall between an income guidelines, and depending on the size of your household, you're most likely to get more assistance and help than say someone who is single that's within a certain poverty line. So I don't really want to give that as an excuse that they get more than most. You low income and you got 2, 3 kids, 4 kids or whatever, trust me. You walk every month, you getting $400 or $500 of food stamps to buy groceries. That's why they set it up like that. They have TAF, TANF. So you getting way more. If I had let's say for instance I had a bunch of kids and um I barely had a job that and it was paying 10, $11 an hour. I walk down there to the Department of Health in DeKalb County or any county for that matter. They're gonna say um, they may not find you free housing right away because it's such a um, shortage of affordable housing in most major cities and most places in this country. But one thing they're gonna give you for sure is you're gonna get some emergency food stamps. That is for sure. If anything, you will get free. You will get free food. You will go to any. They'll recommend you to any resources and say, okay, go ahead and take these vouchers. If you're pregnant and you have a baby 1, 2 years old, they'll give you these vouchers where you could get. They don't want no one to starve. So that's what I'm saying. For people to say, well, they now they don't. Most people don't come out and they don't get fed. Nope. The only ones who may have that problems of not getting fed properly, sending them to school, is probably people who are immigrants or people who came in this country and they know they're not supposed to be here, and they may be afraid to go down to get those type of assistance. They may not get it, despite some people will argue with me. Oh, there's people from other countries, illegal aliens, get more stuff than people who are citizens of this country. That may be true to some extent, but at the same time, I know when I went down to apply for food stamps, and I seen people in those lines with 2, 3 kids more hanging around, and some of these kids looked like they were school age. I was like, why are they not in school? This was around 11 o'clock, so I didn't know. And I wasn't talking about no pre-kids who were in pre-kindergarten or something. I'm talking about kids look like they're supposed to be in the first, second, third grade, fourth grade. So one thing for sure, I'll tell you, you walking in with some kids, they'll help you way more before anybody else who walks in there with no kids. You walking in with no children, and you know, and you being and me being a taxpayer, or oops, someone being a taxpayer who may lost a job, and they may get unemployment or they may not have unemployment. Um, they're not going to offer you no kind of assistance like that. Even if they couldn't find you Section 8 housing right away, they'll refer you to some organizations or places that people could go. Because remember, I don't know. See, y'all weren't in my last year when I had that coworker of mine who I was helping, and people when I was working at that Wipro, that scam ass company that I was working with, and it was a coworker who was just a young girl. She was working there with me. I don't know if y'all remember that story. Some of y'all weren't there when I told that story, but she was in that predicament. Moved moved from California to Atlanta, and because she said a cousin or a friend lived here, she moved, and she was working, and she was living with other co-workers at the job at the time, and was living with the boyfriend or so-called boyfriend. I think he was the pimp because he was beating her up, and she talked about she lost her money, got stolen from the people she was staying with, and all. Oh, that's another story altogether. But anyway, what I'm saying is that if you got some kids, trust me, they're gonna give you're gonna get some assistance, because that's what the SNAP program is for. You know, if kids go to school and low income, they get free lunch, they get free breakfast and stuff. But from the households in which they live, trust me, if they don't have no money, the parents or the mother, in most cases, is usually a single mother, they getting food stamps, way enough food stamps to sustain them. To me, they get too much, because when people get food stamps, and it's that time of the month, their groceries be piled up to the hills. And if you look at what they're buying, crab legs and soda, just junk. I don't know what people. I don't know. I don't know. But that's what my topic's going to be about. So I'm going off the tangent of what I was talking about working from home. So, in working these gig jobs for almost a little bit over 3 years, and how all these companies shutting down, and a lot of companies are deploying their workers to work from home, they're going to probably see this as a savings for the company as a whole. And let me tell you the reason why I say that. If they could go ahead and transition people to work from home, that means basically they don't have to pay real estate, they don't have to pay um, rent, commercial rent on properties to open up to people to work from home. They don't have to um, rent out massive space of places, and they could operate from home and do the technology. They could use the cloud system to handle a lot of HR procedures, and the fact that a lot of companies who are closing down, like restaurants, for instance, and I'm not talking about big, huge type of restaurants, I'm talking about like mid-sized, small restaurants, they closing down because of this virus. they're going to have problems paying their rent, commercial rent. And with that being said, if this goes on for, say, 2 months, let's say this goes on for 3 months, and they could defer um, the rent, and they're waiting for this government stimulus. Yeah, that's you. Kaiser was going to build tons of new. Exactly. Exactly. There's no reason for them to build up brand new commercial space, buildings, and that's not going to happen in Oakland. That's going to happen in New York. It's going to most definitely hurt New York. New York already has no space, so everything is built high. That's why they got a lot of skyscrapers and stuff. So they're not gonna need to open up a lot of they're not gonna need to build up commercial buildings. And the ones when they were doing all this building in Atlanta, every time when I was doing Uber Eats and all these food deliveries, Deliv and all these companies, and I was driving, they were building up all over the place. They were building up here, building up there, office buildings, apartment complexes, way overpriced, way overpriced. And I remember a couple years ago how someone in the real estate market, they said that those prices, especially in Atlanta, it was way overpriced. And a lot of people were building up these townhomes. Every time I turn around, it was 300,000, 400,000 townhomes. And all these investors, particularly foreign investors, were buying up these townhomes, and they were using it to do Airbnb. They didn't buy it because they wanted to live there. They were buying it so they could rent it to people. A lot of them were doing Airbnbs on the properties. And now that with this coronavirus, what's going to happen to the properties that they bought? They're going to default on the loans. And hey, Romeo, they're going to default on those loans for commercial real estate. It's going to be defaulted. And a lot of companies, like, they're not going to, it's going to be a risk of trying to open up a restaurant. They're not going to open up restaurants because after what they've seen, what's going on now with the, closing down and having to either go to the drive-through, they're going to be closed. So now they said, well, rather than, hey, Jody, so um, rather than building new restaurants, they either going to do, if I was a person who was going to have a restaurant, I rather would do food trucks. One, you don't have to worry about high rent. You pay for the truck. Two, you could drive anywhere that allows you to, do your go and your get, service food in a food truck in a smaller space. People could still drive up, order what they need to order, place the order, go to the car, get it. Or they're just going to build more smaller buildings with drive-throughs. See, let me tell you why McDonald's is so successful in regards to, if you think about the history of McDonald's, the person when they, see, McDonald's biggest assets is not how many burgers they sell and fries and stuff. It is the real estate. It's the real estate. That's how money is being made at McDonald's. The reason why you see so many McDonald's all over the place ain't because they sell the most burgers and the most fries and drinks. It's the real estate. That is where it's made. As a franchisee at McDonald's, it's still owned. The real estate is not owned by the person who franchised the McDonald's. So it was the aspect of the real estate aspect of McDonald's. The land is owned by exactly. You just leasing, you just running the McDonald's as a franchisee, but the land is not owned by the franchisee. You don't own the real estate. And that's what that owner, the person who started McDonald's, the owner of McDonald's, that's why it became $1 billion company, is because of the real estate, you know? So they still get the royalties and they still have to pay the they pay the royalties to operate the McDonald's. They get a percentage. That's why Uber Eats and Grubhub and DoorDash, the reason why these restaurants are not going to last too much and a lot of restaurants are going to go out of business is because by them not having people come in to dine in and they getting the majority of the profits when people are sitting in at the dining, placing their orders or sit down to eat. Uber Eats and DoorDash is not getting no percentage of that. The restaurant makes most restaurants money is made through regular customers or people who come in to order food. But when they start ordering food with DoorDash, exactly right. So the restaurants now, McDonald's and all these other places, if you want to order food through a third party company, they're getting 30% of the revenue when people place an order through the apps. They're getting 30, 40%, 30, 35%, whatever. That's why you don't see companies doing 3, 4 apps at one time. They're either going to be choosing Uber Eats or they're going to be choosing DoorDash or both. I haven't seen Grubhub in the mix too much because Grubhub is still a public traded company, and due to the stock probably plummeted, and there was talks about Grubhub and DoorDash were supposed to merge, or Postmate was supposed to merge. Somebody was supposed to merge. There was so many different rumors going on. This company was going to buy that company, but the only two you see now that you hear of now is DoorDash and Uber Eats. That's it. I don't hear too much about Grubhub because remember in Atlanta when I did Grubhub, mostly Grubhub orders that I took was like the Cheesecake Factory, California Kitchen, all of those Thai restaurants. It wasn't a whole lot of fast food places. I mean, it was fast food too, but not as much as they had those regular restaurants that people came in to dine in. And most of the time, people will order Grubhub, and I would go to, whatever, place. It was a huge restaurant, and most people didn't want to go and dine in. They say, let me order the food. So most of their revenues and orders didn't come from Uber Eats and Grubhub and DoorDash. The orders mostly was done through dine-in. So all the waiters, waitresses, dishwashers, cashiers, managers, all those people are unemployed at particularly those type of restaurants. So the crew, the ones who is still operating, Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Wendy's, and some restaurants, they say, oh, it's drive-through only, but you have to, you can order through third party. It's a seafood place out on 78. Golden Corral, that's it. Golden Corral. Golden Corral shut down, period. They was talking about, you can still come in and place an order for pickup. But Golden Corral is not set up for a drive-through to pick up your food and say, okay, I want beans, rice, this, that, whatever. And they place a plate and then they just, Golden Corral is a buffet. So yesterday or whatever day it was, I was driving down. I was like, dang, Golden Corral closed. They didn't even serve food through no drive. They don't even have a drive-through. They don't even have a carry-out. They didn't make enough business to have a carry out for them to be open. So they had to close down, period. And what's going to happen with them is they're going to probably eventually close down and be out of business soon because most of the money was made through dine-in service. You know, when Uber Eats and Grubhub and DoorDash and came about, and we were making a lot of money doing the deliveries. Back in the day, 3 years ago, it would be like 15, 20 people at one time with all these different color bags, the black bag for Postmates, the Uber Eats bag, and the DoorDash bag, and the Grubhub bag. Everybody was in there waiting to get food. And they were so overwhelmed. They were so overwhelmed that they couldn't neglect their dining customers just to take care of the carry out. So restaurants were like, they were overwhelmed when Uber Eats and Grubhub and all these companies were doing these takeout, delivery. It was the hot thing. People were getting paid very well, you know. People were making some pretty good money. I mean, pretty good money, you know. And it was to the point where I was trying to master doing two of them at the same time, and um, it was so busy that I would take one order for Uber Eats and then got one for Grubhub, and I said, "Man, let me take both." And sometimes it worked out that it just took me into the same driveway, the same distance. It was like, boom, worked out like perfect. Boom, drop that food off to that person. The next block, it was to that person, and it worked like clockwork. Sometimes it didn't work, but a lot of times the way I did it, it worked, and I made some good money doing that. But then when they started changing over, when Uber Eats acquired McDonald's and then all the other smaller restaurants that didn't have a delivery food service, um, they told them, see, Grubhub and Uber Eats and stuff, when the representatives went to these owners to sign these restaurants up, they were telling them, oh, if you use our service, you could increase your revenue by 20, 30%. A lot of people not want to come and drive and sit down. So you give us 30%, you keep 70% on top of this $500 per restaurant activation fee that they charge. Because why I knew about it? You know why I knew that? Because I was sitting there talking with these restaurants. When I used to go to these Indian restaurants and all these different cafes and diners, I would ask them, well, tell me, how did this work with this Uber Eats thing? And they told me. They told me how it worked because I didn't just get there, pick up the bag, and go. I would sit up there and ask questions and you know ask them about, well, how does that work? How much did they charge you? How much did they charge you to have the Uber Eats app? And why did you decide to go with 5 different apps? Because it was Eats 24. It was a whole lot of companies. Some companies, restaurants had 5, 6 apps at one time. All of them were going off. Bing, all of them were going off. So that's how I used to strategize my you know, that's how I used to strategize the way I made the money. And they weren't at McDonald's and they were not at no Burger King. They were not out in the outskirts in the suburbs. It was mostly in very well to do neighborhoods that had disposable income that ordered food, not every day, and they tipped. And I figured out the whole operation and how it worked. And that's how I was able to say, okay. But then I started thinking, my business mind, I started thinking to myself, okay, when is it going to be a peak? Anytime you start something new, such as when these food deliveries came about and Instacart and all the rest of them, is always like a 5-year period. I said, okay, it's going to be good for 2 years, maybe 3. But I said once it gets that past 3, 4 year mark, it ain't gonna be hot no more. And I also was the one who was talking about people, oh, my hair is so dry, I need to deep condition it. It is so dry. Anywho, I said to myself, all these people, they were still driving Uber, still doing Lyft. No, Lyft didn't even come about. Lyft came about maybe a good year later. Everybody was talking about Uber. You don't make no money doing no food. Mm-mm. So I said, bump that. I'm doing food. So when I started making the money doing the food deliveries and doing Uber Eats, and then found out about Grubhub, and then found out about DoorDash, I made videos about the food deliveries, but I started making videos and I was saying how much I was making, but I never did no referral codes. If I did referrals for Uber Eats, I spoke to people that I knew personally one on one. I rarely put my referral code on my videos. One, I didn't know how to do it, and two, I didn't feel like going through all that cut and paste. And three, I said, why the hell would I want to tell a whole bunch of people about Uber Eats and get competition? That's why I said, mm-mm. I told people, don't be advertising that referral code like that because you're going to put yourself in lower the rates. I even spoke about it. I explained it. I gave the economics of it. I said, don't do that. Don't be trying to be greedy and trying to thinking you want to get, they only making videos is to get that referral money. It's gonna hurt. And I'm not talking about the food deliveries either. I was talking about regular Uber. There was one person, they was making their money in referral money. They didn't hardly drive. And if they did drive and did people, it wasn't, once those big people, remember those big ones in the back in the day? Jermaine Ellis and Corey, what was his name? Had the blackboard and he had all these figures. Let me show you how to make 10,000 a month. He would talk about the referrals and all these kind of things. And I said, nope, you won't see none of those people on YouTube talking about no referral codes. And you ain't. And they made that. See, they made that money short term. You may have made some good money in referral money for a good year, year and a half, maybe two the most. But the minute Lyft, because I was an ambassador for Lyft. I was supposed to promote Lyft because they didn't choose me to drive, and they were paying those ambassadors to go out there to test people with their driving skills and to collect their IDs and check the IDs, and they could sign up for Lyft. They was getting paid $50 for each. They didn't have to sign up. They just had to go there, help people get it, and sign up. And I was like, mm-mm. When people started doing Uber and Lyft at the same time, that's when I knew. I said, nope, nope. And the rates started going down because at one point it was only 20% they took out. When I switched over and said I want to do Uber Eats only, I don't want to do people no more, they took 35%. And there was no contract of that change. There was no contract. There was an illegal snatch of fees that they upcharge when I did Uber Eats only. Because everybody started switching over because that's when the rates dropped. They increased the amount they took out from 20%. It used to be like 15. If you really started from the beginning, back in the day, I think it was 15% they took. You kept 85, they kept 15. Then it went from 20 to 80. Then it went from 25 to 75. Then it went from 30 to 70. And then they decreased the rates. It was like $1.80-some. Then it went down. Then it went down. Then it went below zero. And I was like, mm-mm. But people were everlasting, giving out referral codes. We're sign up under my code. And if you sign up under my code, I'll give you 25. People try to bribe. That's what it was, a bribe. If I get $500, I give you 100. Some people may have been honest and gave it, but me personally, I wouldn't have did. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have given it. If I told someone verbally, not blasting all over the internet on YouTube, calling myself Uber, whatever, and I knew that was the end of that. That was the end of that. So here it is, people. So here it is, the coronavirus. Everybody jumping on board doing Instacart and doing DoorDash because they thinking that's the big hot thing for money. Nope. Nope. Because let me tell you, when this recession really hits hard and a lot of places start closing down, the real estate market for commercial start closing down, you start seeing a whole lot of empty buildings of restaurants and commercial space empty because a lot of companies are, they don't need their employees to come in to take up a cubicle. Your cubicle could be this room. In this room, this is my cubicle. All 10 by 20, no, 10, what is this? 12 by 10 space room, or number 2 room over there, or 3. That's my cubicle. I got 3 cubicles. This room, the next room over, and the next room over there. 3. 3 out of 4 bedrooms is my cubicle. And a lot of companies, they're not going to need a suite. They're not going to need all of that cubicle space. They're going to say, okay, we can have y'all work from home. And as for having a corporate office, they may just need a small area, if not none at all. Everything could be virtual. Everything could be working from home. You can have HR work from home, management work from home. Everybody's going to be able to be on their computer, hold meetings. So commercial real estate is going to be like gone. It's not going to be huge and big and need all that space. State Farm built up that 3 big old buildings when they had this real estate commercial boom. All these big office buildings were building up in Atlanta. Called Starbucks and other coffees. Yeah, they're gonna be open, but it's gonna be small. You don't need no. See, Starbucks is in what, Target, and I don't think so. Nope, they're not. Matter of fact, I was in Kroger's and they have a Starbucks in Kroger's, and they were closing the area where they won't let you sit down at the Starbucks to get coffee, but but when I went there, it looked like they were closed, but I think they were inside the supermarket. They may have been open, but they won't let you sit down. I know that. There was no seating areas for you to sit down at Starbucks. So if you wanted to drink some coffee, you had to get that coffee to go. And even then, I know that, but yeah, they may have had the kiosk, but I think they went out a lot out of that. Like, at one point in Starbucks, you would get your drinks and sodas, and you go up there and pour it. They turn that shit off. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They had the Starbucks inside the supermarket in Target, but they also had the standalone Starbucks where you go into the drive-through. I've seen those because they got one in Tucker. So either you went to the drive-through to get your coffee with Starbucks, but an actual Starbucks that you could go in and sit down and drink coffee, no. I haven't seen. I know, like Caribou Coffee, like Midtown, they had like a coffee shop you could sit down and drink coffee. Those are closed. If anything that regards, if you coming in there sitting down, drinking coffee, looking at your computer, going online, that was no longer. Those were closed. So you had to go to the drive-through. That's what I'm saying. You don't need to, they don't need to build actual buildings where people could come in and sit down and drink coffee and or go somewhere and sit down. Now you could just you build a smaller restaurant, smaller square footage, and say, okay, with all this social media and things like that and all this stuff, they're gonna say, you know what? Nope, don't build that. Nope, the plans are now changed. We're just gonna do a walk-in or drive-through. You're gonna be in your car, drive through, get your stuff and go, or walk up to the window and go. Exactly. It's more cheaper to lease a small building to pick up, order, and drive through. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I was a person who was a restaurant, like a small restaurant, you could do a food truck. Just say that's the smallest you could get. A small um food truck and have people either order on using Uber Eats or whatever, and or you've develop your structures to be more smaller. That's why I'm relating that to the work from home. You don't need to have all these office suites when you can have your employees work from home. So all that construction that they were doing up in Sandy Springs and downtown and Buckhead, I don't think there's that many Starbucks though. There ain't that many Starbucks, and you don't even need to hire that many people because if you have the computer where you can just click doop doop doop, you only need 2, 3 people to work somewhere, maybe 4. I mean, how many people at that McDonald's would they possibly worked when I went through there? They had one girl at the window to get the money, and the other person was to give the food. Somebody, 2, 3 people probably to work the grill to make the food, and that's it. And maybe one person to clean and wipe there. That's what I saw. One person was in there cleaning. I don't know what they were cleaning because it was, you know, unless someone came inside to pick up the bag, walk in or carry out only, they were there to clean. But all they have to do is put the chairs and don't let you go to the bathroom. So they ain't gonna let you inside to use the restroom. And they just gonna have one person to clean. I ain't never seen them do much cleaning at damn McDonald's ever in my life. And that's it. So you don't need to hire a lot of people. And then you don't need to give them a whole lot of hours. They could say, okay, you got 20 hours, you got 15. So a lot of people gonna get mad and frustrated because they're not gonna be able to work 15, 20 hours. Unless you're like a student or somebody, like teenager or something. But other than that, it's just going to be a whole lot of changes in terms of what businesses are doing. And when I mean restaurants, I'm talking about. I'm not talking about big corporation, big places like Starbucks and McDonald's. I'm talking about that Asian restaurant or that Indian restaurant or the black restaurants, mom and pop stores. They're not going to be able to sustain financially. It was this place right in this shopping center up the street from my house that opened up, and we were arguing back and forth on Nextdoor, which is like Facebook for neighborhoods, and that was the second business that was in that spot since I moved here. And I went in there one time. I didn't order anything because I felt they were too overpriced for regular old meals. And people was trying to say, "Oh, go to that place to support black business and go there to support." I said, "I'm not going to support because they're black. I'm going to support because they're good, not because I should just support everything and anything." And I said, "I think their prices are too high for what they wanted." And it was just a simple old place. There was nothing spectacular about it. I said that if they were new in the neighborhood, they should have had an open house or had some grand opening sale or did something where they could sample the food or sample. I ain't say give out free food. I said sample. So somebody criticized me. I ain't want to sample. If you could sample, give people, go let people try it out so they can know exactly what they're getting. Or give it a chance to see. And I sat there, I didn't feel they were friendly to me when I went in there to inquire. It was very, standoffish like, and I said something, and they jumped on me. Like I said something. That thing went on for months, well, at least a couple of months, because I had said, and I wasn't the only one. It was quite a few people who said something about it. And I felt that they didn't know how to price their food right because it was not a very fancy place. It wasn't a very anything, extravagant about it. But I said, I think $18 is too much just for some sandwich with nothing else. I will because I am a student and I don't have any family. I live with my family and I have SSI. I don't know. You saying you will? You will do what, Romeo? Because I said a lot, so I don't know what you're really saying. Oh, yeah. I mean, you can apply at Starbucks. I'm just saying that Starbucks, I haven't, used to see Starbucks a lot. I just don't see Starbucks too many places like I used to. Yeah, there would be less hours because you don't need. This is the case. Take McDonald's. You can't go inside to service. They already had less employees they was hiring at those type of places because they have those automated touch screens that you place your order, you pay for your food, and all you're doing is picking up the food from the counter. You don't need to have 3, 4 cashiers like they used to have because the two automated machines, when you go inside of McDonald's, took over and replaced at least 3 employees. For those 2 computers they had, it replaced at least 3 people from being at that counter. So you don't need that many people. But if they closed down the restaurants and you had to go to the drive-through and or you pick up, you don't need that many people in there. You only need one person to stay at the register to get the money, the other person at the other end is to give them the food, and probably maybe 3 other people, maybe 3 or 2, depending on what time of the day it is, to be at the counter. So the government shut down. The virus, which closed a lot of restaurants from having people to dine in, you're eliminating a lot of people from working. You don't need to hire wait staff. You don't need to hire waiters. You don't need to hire as many people to do dishwashers. You don't need that many people because you're only using um, one aspect of people to pick up the food. You don't need to hire as many people, but some people still pay with cash and legally. Yeah, I'm saying whether you pay by cash or your credit card, you still need one person to do that and another person to give them the food. And even if you're using an automated system to punch when you come in, but I'm saying that's a moot case because you can't walk in there and place an order now because it's closed. The only way they gonna let anybody in the McDonald's is if you was picking up an Uber Eats order. The order has already been paid for. They just walk in there and say, "Who are you picking up for?" Uber Eats. Okay. Then they give them their bag and they go about their business. I'm talking about the way it is now. Because even if you're paying by cash, that same one person who gives the bag is the same person that's ordering, that's running the register. You don't need three registers. I haven't been when I went to McDonald's lately, even before this pandemic came along, they always had one person at the register. The same person who gave you the bag was the same person who went back to that register and took that cash or the credit card if somebody didn't want to use the machine. It was that one person that was doing all that, that was working the counter, and that's all they did, was work the counter, whether that be that register or giving out that food. They didn't have as many people like they used to. And I noticed that as I go to different McDonald's, especially if they have those machines. Now, there was one place, it was McDonald's of the future. They were building this brand new McDonald's. They didn't even open yet. It's supposed to be some brand new state of the art McDonald's. One day when I go back to Johns Creek, if they're open, I'm going to go over there and take a picture and take a video of it and show y'all. That's what I saw that a couple weeks ago. And it was like, come visit the future of the McDonald's. Future McDonald's supposed to be, and it wasn't like the upscale regular McDonald's rebuilt. It's supposed to be something totally new. So I'm curious to see what that's going to look like. Not to eat there, but just it was something that it caught my eye when I saw it, but it wasn't open yet. So I'm curious to see what that was supposed to be. But if there's a Starbucks that's still hiring, I say go for it. Go for it. But let me tell you, if I was looking for a job or something that pays, I'll work at Whole Foods that's owned by Amazon. Amazon is the only one that's going to be able to build up a brand new building and build up and provide a lot of jobs because it's going to be in a warehouse or it's going to be Amazon or Amazon Flex because people are going to be ordering online regardless. See, right now, if I was to turn on my Amazon Flex app, that's the only app that I got available, that and Roadie. If I turn on Amazon Flex on the weekend, it will be 8, 9 blocks pulled up at one time. And I was like, dang, if I wanted to do Amazon Flex again, I can and do it on a couple of days a week. I'm thinking about doing that anyways. Kind of keep myself active, and I don't want to do packages but I'd rather do the whole food, pick up the groceries. And they pay one time it was $30 to $48 for 2 hours. I should have done it. I should have done it that day, but I was like, I don't feel like getting up in the morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:30 to go there. But I should have done it though. Well, put it this way: if it comes up again, I'm gonna do it. Now, fortunately, this new job I started today. The schedule for training is Sunday through Thursday, so I can still do it because I don't start until 12 noon. So next time they got blocks like that in this Whole Food, I'm gonna do it just to get myself back into the game again. But yeah, if anybody wants to look for a work from home job, there are a lot of companies that are looking. Even some of the raggedy ones I used to work with in the past, T-Tech, TTEC, they hiring work from home. Olerica, let me put some of these things down. I'm gonna put it down in the chat. Some of these names. Olerica is one. TTEC is the other. And this is the company I work with, but that's another one. I like Concentrix. So far, what they was talking about and what they were saying and how they treat their employees, I would say that's the best one yet. Um, Remember this company, Wipro, that raggedy company I used to work for? Thank you, Jeremy. Let me tell you another company I had interviewed today with on the phone, and it was a driver, not a driver position. It was a delivery service business for a major company that people filed their insurance with their cell phones. They were hiring, but they told me that because of the coronavirus, they said they had to wait until it gets lifted or whatever. And basically, they offered me the job, but they told me they have to wait until they lift the shelter in place. And I was pretty much offered the job. They said, "But are you willing to wait until it comes, until it starts?" I said, "Sure." So, and basically, what it is, you know how you get your cell phone and you go to the store and you get it fixed. So what they're doing is that rather than people going to the place to get it, they could order a phone, it gets fixed, and then it gets delivered. So I would be delivering people's phone or accessory. Well, basically, it's gonna be really the phones or computer or tech support at the house. So, and it was part time, but it pays $18 an hour, and they pay 63 cents a mile, and it's in 3:40. No, it's 3 o'clock till 8:45. Thursdays through Thursday, Friday, Thursday through Sunday, or something like that. It's assuring. They were hiring, but like I said, I have to wait. They're holding the positions because of this shelter in place they held with the coronavirus. So I interviewed with them this morning, but I had applied with them about a couple weeks ago. Ooh, my hair looked like a mess, yo. I should cut it all off again. But all the barber shops and all the hair salons are closed. So I'm not saying anything's wrong doing Grubhub and all these. Well, I'm not saying anything's wrong with doing these food delivery apps, grocery shopping and stuff. But I think that they're gonna be funny acting after a while. You know, things may not come back to normal. Things may not be back to what it used to be for sure. But in regards to where opportunities to work, I would strongly suggest y'all look into working from home. Now, another company is let me put the other ones. Arise. Oops. Arise. I'll put this in the description link once I edit the video. Oh, I'm not going to edit the video. I'm just going to put all this in the. Arise is another one, and Working Solutions. What's that other one I worked at last year? This was an independent contracting job, though. Arise, Working Solutions, Alerica, T-Tech, Concentrix. Oh, y'all know which one I'm talking about. The one that I worked at last year when I was doing the billable minutes, when I did TurboTax. But a lot of those companies got the same contract. Dang it, Arise. It's on the tip of my tongue too. Let me put me some other ones. I haven't worked at these I worked at Wipro, Concentric, I do now, T-Tech. I never worked at Alerica, but they hiring and they desperately need people. Kelly Connect is one. Kelly Connect. Oh, what is the name of it? They basically call these companies IBOs. But some of these companies, they call them not consulting firms. Mm-hmm. It's the competitors for Arise. I don't know why every time I keep Live Ops. That's it. I knew if I do a Google search, Live Ops. Live Ops and Arise are similar companies. The difference between now Arise is hiring because I was supposed to be working with them in the next couple of weeks with Home Depot. They have an IBO, which is an independent business owner. So basically, they use the Arise platform, but you have to pay for the tests and you have to pay for the training. They were hiring for Home Depot in a couple of weeks. I was supposed to, I paid for the background check, but they was full. The company they used to do the background check, they was just being too foolish. I said, my name is not NA, my name is Teresa. And then, they legit, but they were just too disorganized for me. So I said, you know what? Give me my money back for my background check because they never completed it and they keep giving me the runaround. So I found then today they said that they were looking for people to work another company that they acquired, Arise, that joined the Arise platform working from home. And it was with not TurboTax because they just did TurboTax for the tax season. They're doing what was it? Hold on, let me check because there was an information session with Advantage in a couple of weeks. Next week they have it was another company that they said they were looking for people. Now, who was the dang company? They had just Hmm. They do live ops. I mean, Arise. They have companies like the Roadside Rescue company, support. You could join. You could sign up with that company. QuickBooks. That's what it was. QuickBooks is hiring customer service, inbound customer service, and product support for QuickBooks. And if you wanted to become your own mini call center and be an LLC, you could sign up under the Rise platform and or you could be an independent contractor for a customer service representative, and you could work under a company. But the thing with that is that you pay $19.99 a month to Arise to use the platform. The other company, they may charge you $40 of fees because it's supposed to be administrative fees or something, which is basically like $60 every pay period. You get paid twice a week. You're responsible for taking out your own taxes, of course, because you're an independent contractor. I mean, it's legit. So I held off of doing Home Depot, and you basically choose your hours and your blocks. You get $12.50 an hour, but Intuit QuickBooks was paying $16 an hour. See, they changed it. When I read somewhere else, the other place said it was $16 an hour, but then when I read on here, it said it could be anywhere between $9 to $14 per hour. So I don't know who is, and this is the Arise platform. So I don't know why I read one thing said 16 and this one says 9 to 12. So I don't know. It's legit, but it all depends on the company. So live ops, you don't have to pay any fees to join the platform because you build them for the hours you work. So if I did, you get paid 32 cents a minute. You don't pay no fees. So when I was reading here, let me read to y'all so many things when I was pulling it up. Which is better, a live ops or a Rise? Now, it says here, Arise has more clients than live ops, which is true. But the Arise, it says here, what you make doesn't make it worth it. That means that, yeah, you could work at Arise. They have more clients to choose from, but you have to pay for training. You don't get paid for training. You have to pay the company that you work under a fee, and then you pay $19.99, $20 basically to Arise. Live ops, on the other hand, you build them on a per minute rate, and you may get bonuses. Now I ain't even seen no damn bonus with live ops. So you control your call volume, being is based on your performance. So they may give you more calls based on your stats with live ops. But if you're sitting, like, remember when, I don't know if y'all remember when I was doing live ops with TurboTax, people would have problems with technical issues with the computer, or they didn't know how to download forms or whatever the case may be. And you try to help people and they want to argue. And you try to tell them that the operating system is old and they want to, argue about the computer, and you reading and telling them what to do. And, I'm getting paid for every minute. So you can go on the phone. You can be on the phone for hours if you want. I'm still getting paid per minute. But the thing with them is that if you have technical issues on your computer at home, it was hard to get to somebody to help you resolve it. And I remember with Live Ops, I had that issue that winter when we had that snowing, and I couldn't do Uber Eats and nothing because all the stores were closed. We had that ice. My computer, they had a glitch in their system, and I couldn't get that thing done for 3 days. That means I wasn't getting paid no money with Live Ops, and ooh, that's what I didn't like about it. And then at one point, if it was slow, I would be up at 7 in the morning. You have to sit there at your desk, wait to get a call, and then you're like sitting there waiting, waiting, waiting. Then you had to get blocks and complete for blocks of time. So, I mean, it's legit. These companies are legit that I'm telling y'all about, but it's real, it's quite different, you know. So, there's a lot of opportunities in these companies that I mentioned, and working from home seems to be it's always been a thing, telecommuting and working from home, but this virus really going to push a lot of companies into staying that route and implementing work from home protocols, because the IRS been trying to go work from home for years, but by being a government agency, bureaucracy, and money issues, they've been talking about that for years about working from home. They were slowly migrating, but I think now that's going to really push people. That's going to really push it, and that's the way they're going to eliminate a lot of people. They're going to force people into retiring from these government agencies, and they're going to probably hire third party companies, US based companies, to hire people to do that same government job for less money. That's going to happen. So the opportunities of working from home seems really good. And there's a lot of jobs that I've been coming across lately where you're working from home. Now, I know a lot of people will say, oh, I like the independence of making my own schedule and, doing deliveries and food and da 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 da, but they gonna pay way more less than some of these jobs that's paying. So it's good to supplement. That's what I've always said. These food apps, and it's always good as a supplemental income. Supplement your income. It's not meant to be full time. I know there's a lot of YouTubers who have big channels, used to make a lot of money doing food delivery. I mean, doing Lyft and Uber at one time. But look what happened. Even then, you see them doing food deliveries, grocery deliveries. So it's not there like it used to be. You know. And my prediction about 4 or 5 years that it's going to change and decrease is here. 4 years ago, I said it. I said it's not meant to be. It's not meant to go beyond 4 years. After it's not going to last for 4 years, and that's what happened. People say you being negative. You being negative. No, I'm not. Be realistic. Now, these jobs working from home and a recession that we will be going into, or we already in, it may be worse. It may get worse when it's all said and done. And working from home and the technology is going to be cheaper for companies. You have to look at it from the bottom line. They're not looking at they don't care about you. These companies are looking at the bottom line when it's all said and done. Oh, we could save on real estate. We could save on commercial. We could save on utilities. They could, they could save on infrastructure, rent. Rental real estate, commercial real estate, when it comes to a business, is going to be the biggest savings ever. You don't need to hire, you don't need, people could, sit at home, get out of bed, go to work. You can operate a business, human resource, managers, anything. You don't need to have people come into an office. You may have a brick and mortar office because, but you don't need that much. You don't need a big office space to do that. The only people who need office space or need to have an office is medical and dental. Small medical, dental office. Um, Pretty much it. Maybe little convenience store, maybe grocery stores, but then you don't need to have a big, huge space. You don't need all that. They could build. They tore down old Krogers, and when they build up a brand new Kroger, it's smaller than it was when they had the old building because people could drive up, get their car loaded with the groceries, go on about their business. You don't need to have a whole bunch of cashiers. You don't need a whole bunch of registers. Nothing like that. Mm-mm. So, anywho, y'all ain't saying anything. And there's none of y'all in here. So, as you exit the building, please hit the thumbs up, comment, like, and subscribe. So, go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. So, hopefully, y'all look into these different companies working from home. You don't have to have a whole lot of experience, because a lot of these companies, as long as you're dealing with people, they pretty much need you. Some of them, they may not pay a whole lot of money. They may pay about 11, 12, 13, 14 an hour. Um, the one I work with that I started today, they seem to offer very good benefits. I don't know what the rates will be. I'll find out Friday because every state is different. And I don't know. Like I said, look into it. Anybody interested in working from home or they need to work from home and they looking for something, they very strong in military. You know, if you're a veteran or military or someone who, goes to different, they very supportive of that. At least the company that I work with starting today, they seem to be very, very supportive of things like that. I can't tell you about Wipro and T-Tech, even though I wasn't working from home with those companies, but they had a call center. And like I said, I'm quite sure they're gonna goodness gracious, I need a perm. A lot of these companies are transitioning the employees to work from home. So it's a good thing. I'm not I'll be satisfied and happy with it. So anyways, let me go because my back is hurting. This chair is uncomfortable and I need to go to Office Depot tomorrow and buy me a real chair. This here is get rid of this chair. It's so hard. It's hurting my back. All right, so y'all have a good night. Jeremy, Romeo, Dorian. Who else I would think is on here? Rick reviews. I know I said more names than that, but there's 7 of y'all in here. All right, y'all have a good one. And thanks for being on my channel. And I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. Oh, and top speed. I forgot about you. Top speed too. All right. Talk to y'all later.